Hey there, people. Too Tall again. Got done grinding on this piston. Give you guys an up close look. So as far as I'm concerned, that thing is good to go. I finished it out with my little sandpaper drum, 180 grit. Hit all these, let me get a pointer here. Went over all these edges. Over that was a little sharp to my feeling. Anyway, so let's weigh it. Yeah, I'll just move this out here. Okay, it's on. So we started out at 92 grams. Now we are at 87. So we've shed 5 grams of weight. And once again, the goal was not necessarily to shed weight, it's just a beneficial byproduct. The goal is to increase flow and to reduce the possibility of stress fractures. So, now the drop test. Now, if properly fitted, this should just nicely go just like that. And I feel it for any excessive play anywhere throughout. You know, you're going to have a little bit. You don't want it super tight, because when this heats up, it will expand. Okay, so my next step is to map out with the cylinder what I'm going to do on the grinding work on the transfers. So, as you can see, these are pretty tiny in comparison to, say, other saws. Now, you know what? I just had a marvelous idea. I will be back in just a moment. All right, we're back there after a brief pause. My wonderful idea was to grab a couple of cylinders for comparison. So this is an OEM 288 cylinder. This is the one that came off the project saw we're working on. And it had an enormous amount of aluminum transfer in the cylinder, and I polished and polished, and yeah, it's just too far gone. There's still some pretty good marks in there that you can feel to the touch, and I ran the plating all the way down around the exhaust there. So, you know, in a port job, you could probably get rid of most of that, and it might be okay, but I don't know. I'm going to keep it as backup. I might try it one of these days, but for this build, I wanted to go with a new cylinder. So, but let's just compare. We're looking at the transfers. Now, one thing I'm seeing right off is the upper transfers on this. The Meteor cylinder. Holy moly. Can you guys see that? Look at how much bigger those are. They're taller too. I mean, they got more, I guess you could say, duration. Be curious to see what the numbers are going to be, you know, just for curiosity's sake and comparison. We might have to check the numbers on both these. I'm curious what the blowdown is, you know, OEM versus the Meteor. Very interesting. The exhausts, looks like on the Meteor is quite wider. And the intakes. Spin it around so you guys can see the intake sides. I like the shape of the Meteor one a lot better. Just a lot cleaner shape. So yeah, those upper transfers are very similar, but I mean the lower transfers are very similar, but those uppers are definitely different, and that exhaust is significantly different as well. So looking at the transfers again, let's compare to this OEM 266 cylinder. Now you will observe that on this 66cc saw versus 87, 88 cc saw, those transfers are relatively similar. Now I'd always heard it said that the 288 was a bit on the sluggish side in comparison to, say, the 394, and one of the reasons is more than likely these transfers. It is quite restricted for a saw that size. So, but we will definitely remedy that, won't we? Yes, we will. Tim Allen would be proud. More power. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referencing the show Home Improvement. I love that show. Even got my kids watching reruns of that. So now I'm going to get this piston centered up in here. And I'm going to throw some marks. When I do this, I got to make sure that, it's clocked in there properly. It doesn't need to be perfect. I just need a reference line that I can work with. There, that more or less gives me an idea. I won't come right up to that line. I'll give myself, a little room. In one of the things I was studying, I got to be careful. Every cylinder design is a little different. Some leave a lot of extra meat here on the outside where you can really grind deep, and then others don't. And this one, it appears to be fairly shallow. If you compare that to my lines, I can definitely transition that out, no problem. I just have to be conscious of the fact that I can't go hogging in too terribly deep. I just want to open that up and transition, from about there in to that neighborhood. And then we'll probably tickle these uppers a little bit so that they're just a wee bit wider and angled towards that intake side of the cylinder. But we won't get too crazy. Those things are already freaking just enormous. I'm excited. Can't wait to get this all done and see how she performs. And man, the size of that exhaust, I'm not going to have to touch that, width-wise anyway. We'll see what the numbers are once we set it on the case. We might not have to do much grinding to the ports, or to the exhaust port, that is. And I have learned through trial and error that, especially with these older Huskies, that less is more on the intake side. That 266, that old blue top over there, that thing was my nemesis. That was my first Husqvarna, serious Husqvarna port job. I've been saying that was my first, but actually, thinking back, I think this little 44 Rancher was the first one I messed with. But that was just kind of an experiment, the 44. Anyway, so I think we'll call that a wraps for tonight. And next time we will be grinding on this and quite possibly getting it set on the saw and check out some numbers. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. You all have a great night and take care wherever or whenever you might be. Bye.